Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to the channel. Today we're going to be taking a look at a video from Off Angle. This was just a very random recommendation on the homepage of YouTube. As you can see from the thumbnail, because I put their thumbnail on my thumbnail, it was very off-putting. I was like, what the heck is even going on? So, of course, it got me there. It hooked me. It struck me. I was like, I got to watch this video, right? So this video is why are Indians abused online globally? The dark realities of India's online image. Actually, this is interesting because this is not the title that it originally had. I want to say it had a different title. Let me look this up. Hold on. Oh, never mind. I conflated the wording on the thumbnail with the title. The wording on the thumbnail says "Why Indians Suck." So, yeah. Interesting. Already, right from the bat, I can see he's disabled dislikes on the channel, which is interesting. I kind of want to read this little blurb before we actually get into the video. In this video, I have discussed the online image of Indians, which has often come into question and become a matter of mockery and trolling on the internet for people. I have compared the behavior and attitude of Indians with that of another developed country and tried to highlight the reasons for getting hate online. I have explained in detail how the online behavior of Indians' online image based on the content of Indian creators and influencers, and Indians' way of living attracts negative reactions on the internet. Watch the video to the end to understand why Indian has such a terrible reputation online. Huh. If you found the video valuable, then drop a like and subscribe. Hit the bell icon, the whole YouTube shebang. So what is this line about Indians' online image based on content of Indian creators and influencers? And Indians' way of living life attracts negative reactions. Interesting. Okay, well, I'm very interested to see the oh my God, look at that, 10,000 comments. I don't want to look at the comments yet. I don't want to look at the comments yet. I'm gonna save that for the end. But yeah, this is really interesting. It's really interesting. I don't know. So yes, India's been getting a lot of hate recently. In the past year, I've noticed an escalation of hate online. And then one of the main things that I've seen is like India being dirty and trashy. But here's the thing. Here's the thing that a lot of these people don't realize that are complaining about India or, chastising India. You go to any huge major population hub in pretty much any country, and you're gonna find, dirt, trash, and just abhorrent neighborhoods anywhere you go. I actually tested this via Google Maps. I randomly plonked down onto a location on Google in Los Angeles, and I turned and bam, instantly just a huge wall of trash. So, like, you can't just, I don't know. I don't know. I really do think that the hate of India comes off very misguided, right? And I I probably have seen a lot more of India than most Westerners have. For those that don't know, I do play Geoguessr, specifically like Indian Geoguessr. So with Geoguessr, you get placed randomly all throughout a country, and you have to try to figure out where you are and pin you on the map. And I've seen some very dirty places in India, but I've also seen some of the most beautiful places in the world in India. So I'm just saying, I'm just saying that we should probably watch this video and stop delaying it, yeah? Okay, let's get into it. Off Angle. Interesting.
26th March 2024 was the day I had come back from Osaka in Japan. And the very next day, I had been very excited to go to the gym and see all my friends. And on the way there, something very shocking happened. As I was walking to the gym, an auto driver spat gutka on my leg. The dissonance that I had
Okay,
after coming
that's pretty gross. Any form of spitting is revolting, I will admit. But you can find spitting anywhere, so
back from Japan was shocking. I was in a country where every single person is absolutely so organized and so considerate of other people around them. In India, people use their phones on the metro and the train on full blast. In
Oh,
Osaka,
that's pretty
people
annoying.
absolutely do not speak on a train. Why? Because they are considerate about everyone else's comfort. While in India, people drive on the wrong side, cross the roads in absolute
Oh my God. Yeah, I okay, so when it comes to driving in India, I have noticed that it's really bad. It's really bad.
absolutely dangerous manners in Osaka. If the light is red and if there are absolutely no cars on the street, people would still not cross the road. And when you experience this kind of contrast firsthand, you start to wonder that when Indians get all of that hate online, is it somewhat justified? In today's video, I'm going to break down just that. Why exactly do Indians have such a horrible image and a reputation online? Why is it that every other
I do think it stems a lot from racism and a want and a need for these races to feel superior. So I mean, I think a lot of the racist hate online isn't specifically like sought and targeted towards Indians. It's just sought and talked about everybody. But because there's such a big Indian population online, that these racists can get more from it, I guess. I mean, like I said, I have noticed a rise and increase in racism, specifically like on Twitter. And it got so much to the point where I noticed that one of like the creators that I watch on YouTube, I followed him on Twitter, and he was saying racist stuff, which is like the complete opposite, like ignorant racist stuff. Like I don't think he was trying to be racist, but he was being very, very racist. And it's like, what in the world? I saw that and I contemplated. It's like, okay, there's something wrong with this platform. So I actually unfollowed like 400 people off Twitter. So it just got too extreme, man.
other country perceives our people as second class citizens. And here's a spoiler alert, there is just one conclusion to this, and that is Indians cannot have nice things. And the reason is that we put our self interest above all else. Now, in spite of
I'm
India being one
confused.
of the most hospitable countries with some of the sweetest and most welcoming people, there
I
is a
agree.
lot
I absolutely agree with that. Like we hear in the comment section, is always filled with happiness and happiness, I should say. Well, I get the occasional hate comment, but it's always like a sense of welcoming and a sense of like they appreciate me trying to learn the culture and history and stuff.
that is still wrong with our people and their behavior. In this video, I'm going to break it down in three parts. Number one, we'll discuss the way Indians behave online. Number two, we'll talk about India's image and what other Indian creators and Indian public figures are doing to improve it or worsen it. And finally,
Hmm.
number three, the way Indians live life. What are the things about Indian society that actually worsens our image in the eyes of literally every other country? After the rise of short format content such as Reels and Instagram and the boom that came with Geo when internet became cheap for everyone, the way Indians behave on the internet was out in the open for the world to see. India is not for beginners. You might have seen this comment on some of the most vile and disgusting practices done by our people. There might be a person standing on a bike while riding it, a person jumping out of the train, a person serving food in some of the most disgusting conditions.
This is crazy. This is also wild. I've talked about to people that were like earlier in the year that were in like a flood prone area in India, and you the last thing you want to do is get into flood water. Flood water is probably the most vile, disgusting water source on the planet, right? Because it sweeps in and it mixes with everything, all the oils, all the just the trash. It gets into like the sewer systems. It just it is so bad. It is so disgusting. And if you're inside, if you're like this guy right here driving through this floodwater here, he doesn't know what's under the surface of that. He could get, a giant cut on his leg from like a loose piece of metal or something, and then that giant cut gets infected like instantly because of the floodwater. Anyways.
And for some reason, our people take pride in it on how India is not for beginners and how an individual living in another country can't even dream of doing things like these. I mean, why would they? They are civilized. This absurd glorification of our citizens' actions is something that leads us to be perceived as extremely uncivilized.
Hmm.
Another thing the rise of social media has actually worsened is how racist Indians are. Now, back in 2013, Washington Post had done a study that actually concluded that Indians are some of the most racist individuals
Wait,
out there.
what? Oh, this is yeah. The article was published 11 years ago. Indian is some of the the racist people. That's funny. Let me go back and see.
Actually concluded that Indians are some of the most racist individuals out there. In spite of having so much
Interesting.
diversity, in spite of speaking so many different languages, being a hub for all sorts of people, Indians are actually shockingly very racist towards each other and everyone
I was
else.
gonna say, is it racism, racism towards others, or is it more of like? Because I know there's a deep like religious divide, and I know that stems that causes a lot of controversy, right? And typically, when you look at like the religious divide, you think of like I don't know, almost different ethnic groups. So I don't know if that's what it's where it's actually stemming from, some sort of like religious hatred that also like boils over into like racist hatred, but I don't know. I don't know.
When we see white people, we call them Gora and try to scam them. When we see someone from Africa, we call them
What?
Kalu and make fun of them. When North Indians
What?
struggle to communicate in the southern parts of India, we call them Nordi and do not accept them for just speaking a different language. In
Northy? Is that what he said?
call them Nordi and do not accept
Northy.
them for just speaking a different language. In fact, when Business Tech did a similar study trying to survey the most racist countries in the world, and when the studies of Washington Post and Business Tech were combined, even then India emerged on top. Every time there is a reel on
Interesting.
Instagram of any person doing literally anything, there is always a bunch of Indians making fun of them in the comment section. It doesn't matter how fit or unfit you are. It doesn't matter what the color of your skin is. It doesn't matter what language you speak. If you exist, Indians will find a way to be racist towards you. So my question is,
Interesting.
if we
I don't
continue
think
to
I
behave
don't think I've experienced too much racism. Although that being said, I really don't care. Um, uh, hmm. Interesting.
like this online, how on earth do you expect us to not be ridiculed? The second thing I want to cover is India's image and how we are perceived everywhere and what our people are doing to make this better or worse. In this segment, I'm mainly going to talk about creators, and trust me, there is some outrage here. Broadly, if you look at other people's depiction of India, you would see that India is often perceived as an extremely unhygienic and unclean place. For example, look at the show Family Guy, where there's an episode where Stewie and Brian visit India, and look at how
I've
India
never
is
actually seen
portrayed there.
Family Guy.
I can already
Like,
smell.
I I shouldn't say I have never seen Family Guy. I don't watch Family Guy. Like I've caught the occasional show, like the episode, but I don't actually sit down and watch it.
The enlightenment and tranquility.
Wow.
It is shown as an extremely crowded place with animals roaming
That was extreme. That was really extreme. To be fair for Family Guy though, they make fun of everybody, so
everywhere, flies here and there, and a lot of stench. But wait a second, why do you think we are portrayed that way? In fact, in India, there are so many places that are actually visually pleasing. They're aesthetic, they're beautiful, they're clean, they're hygienic. And this is even more true for the countryside and the smaller villages of India. So why do you think this happens? Well, obviously, the biggest factor is that people tend to focus more on the negatives. But an even bigger reason, in my opinion, are creators. You should see the type of content that Indian food
I
bloggers
know before we get into this, I know recently, and it was after this video, there's a travel vlogger called Bald and Bankrupt. And he started his career by traveling to India. And he recently went back to India again after like 6 years. And oh man, he went to like the worst places imaginable and filmed it. And he was just like degrading India all throughout, and it seems really extreme to me. And I know that had a lot of backlash online. Like he didn't care. He got the views. He got the hate views, right? But yeah, I noticed quite a bit of backlash from it.
Bloggers post. In spite of having such rich food diversity in our country, they would manage to post some of the most unhygienic, the most inedible street food out there. Now, as someone who's lived in India,
Okay, I will admit some of the I've seen some random street food videos. Some of them look pretty good. Actually wanted to react to a couple street food videos, but I didn't know like the right way to approach it. But then I've also seen some like really like horrid street food videos.
all his life, someone who's grown up in Mumbai, I've eaten street food significant amount of times. And I'm sure if you are Indian, so have you. In fact, most Indians absolutely love their street food. And now if
Are
as
those AI images? This looks like an AI image.
so have you. In fact, most Indians
This is 100% AI as well. Interesting. I don't know why he would choose to use
absolutely
AI. Weird.
love their street food. And now if, as social media portrays it, all of India's food was unhygienic and inedible, then we would all be sick all the time, right? But that's not the case. And yet food bloggers continue to post crap like this.
I've seen this one.
तो भाई यहाँ इनके पानी की
There's
प्रिपरेशन
a little
स्टार्ट
arm
हो
in
रही
it.
है
That's
जो
that's
पानी
to,
ये
okay. To be honest, it is gross. When you think about it, it is gross. But I would assume that before he put his arm in, he cleaned his arm, right? So, I mean, if you go and to like a restaurant and you look behind, those chefs are going to be touching your food either way, right? But it is a little extreme when you put your whole dang arm in it. That's a little uncalled for.
पिलाते हैं गोलगप्पे में वो पानी बनने जा रहा है ये एक ही तरीके का पानी रहता है कोई मीठा मांगे तो
सॉरी सर हमारे यहाँ मीठे वाले ग्राहक ही नहीं आती सर
And whenever you see these unhygienic videos, there is always comments from people living in other countries like these.
I got food poisoning just watching the video. You forgot to shit in it. My brother tried this kuchiri. He said it tasted awesome. Those were his last words. The gravy is literally everywhere, including all over the shirt of the owner and even spilled over the road. Hygiene is crying in the corner. He is not making pani of pani puri. He's washing his hands. I don't know what that says up there. Vomit sound. Okay.
And now while there are places that are absolutely unhygienic and disgusting, these are only a fraction of all of India's street food. And you also need to remember that most places that serve in such conditions primarily cater to the poor. These are enterprises driven by necessity. While food bloggers are busy promoting crap like this and making absolutely crass content, let me remind you that India is also home to this kind of food.
Yeah, I've seen these types of videos
So
as
now
well.
if
And I mean, I'll be honest, this stuff looks good. This stuff looks great. And again, like he said, these creators, I think, are going out there and they're capturing the worst of the worst in order to do like engagement farming. I really believe that.
So now if Indian food bloggers had even an ounce of their brain left, they would rather focus on the great parts of India's food diversity. They would focus on repairing this image. And due to the collective stupidity of one online community, that is the food bloggers, our image from being a land of rich food diversity gets
I'll be honest with you. I've been trying out and eating a lot of different Indian foods, and I've really been loving it.
reduced to that of an unhygienic mess. But wait a minute.
Again, with the AI image there, it's just you don't need to do that. You don't need why? I know he's trying to get like a point across, but like this is so random. This AI image.
But wait a minute, it's not just an image problem. There is also some serious problems with the way Indians behave and just generally live lives. In India, there is an age-old principle called Atithi Devo Bhava. This is Sanskrit
Guest
for a
equals
guest
God.
is equivalent to a god. But do we actually behave like that? Every time we see tourists, our vendors try to scam them. Our taxi drivers overcharge them. We look at them with weird eyes. We are racist towards them.
You give him 600 rupees.
It's okay, I'll check in.
He will give you 600 rupees.
Coming from New Zealand.
New Zealand guy.
Where are you going?
Paharganj.
Paharganj.
I'll check here.
Taxi sir.
How much is Paharganj?
Paharganj, which hotel you?
Just the main market, Paharganj.
Paharganj. 800 rupees.
How much?
800 rupees.
Every time we see our own people from the
Interesting.
northeast, we
I have seen some videos where they do have like a foreigner tax, but I mean I don't blame them. Because many times when you see a foreigner, they're going to be a little bit more wealthy. I don't know. It's like a double-edged sword. Like at one point, like I don't blame them for trying to get some money, but at the other time, it is, it is a bit disingenuous to charge different people based off of their like ethnicity or how they look, right?
we call them derogatory terms and call them Chinese. And it's not just us, even our government
What was
treats
that?
derogatory terms, and
800 rupees.
every time we see our own people from the northeast, we call them
Oh.
derogatory terms and call them Chinese. And it's not just
I've
us,
heard of
even our
that.
government treats tourists like crap. Look at the prices of the tickets at the Taj Mahal. An Indian citizen has to pay 50 rupees.
50 rupees, foreigner 1100 rupees. What is Sark? I don't know what that is.
But a foreigner or an NRI has to pay 1100 rupees, a 22 times markup. This only happens in
Interesting.
India. I haven't seen a single other country do this. We are the only country that openly,
I don't know. I think there's other countries that do that. I really do think that.
legally overcharge our tourists. We treat them differently even though they are our guests. When I had been to the aquarium at Osaka, there was one line. Every single person of every single nationality stood in that line and every single one of them paid the exact same price. How do we claim to be a land that preaches Atithi Devo Bhava when we tell our guests that, you know what, since you're a guest, you're going to pay me more money to see the same monument? Another huge reason why we are absolutely obliterated online is that our behavior is downright disgusting. Mostly in the case of women, but also irrespective of your gender, Indians have a habit of staring a lot and not smiling.
What? Staring and not smiling? Why is that a thing? What? I don't understand.
This is something that actually creates a lot of anxiety, and this does not happen anywhere else. Mostly people mind their own business in every other country. But if you walk on a street in India, most people stare at you. And when you make eye contact and smile at them, they look away. Observe this. Go to a market and see how many people smile at you when you smile at them. Almost all the solo female travelers in India have some or the other safety issue to complain about. One of my closest friends is a flight attendant in one of the biggest airlines in the world. She travels the entire world and always tells me that I get a little uncomfortable when I see a bunch of Indian passengers. Because just when I have been used to not being stared at or not being made uncomfortable, I know that there is very likely going to be one such instance when it comes to this group. In spite of having a great education, we drive in the wrong lanes. We spit everywhere. If you look at the newly constructed Atal Setu in Mumbai, you would see that there were people who actually took their cars and stopped in the emergency lane just to click pictures.
That's a bit extreme. I mean, you get stupid people like this all over the world too. I've
They ate
seen
food there,
people
they
like that
littered there, they
in the
spat
U.S.
there. Every time we have garbage in our hands, we throw it on the road. Why? Because that is someone else's job. I pay my taxes, so why should I bother? As a society, we display a lot of entitlement. We think that certain things are absolutely not our jobs, so we should not be bothered by them. In fact, if you look at the Brent neighborhood of London, where a lot of Indians happen to live, you would see gutka stains on their walls as well. A councillor from North London requested the government to ban it because all of the Indians living there were chewing on pan, they were chewing on tobacco and making the walls red. It is
That's crazy. Inside Brent's unique spitting issue, turning the streets red and costing £30,000 a year to clean. That's crazy. Also, £30,000? That seems like a lot.
living there were chewing on pan, they were chewing on tobacco and making the walls red. It is our necessity to be comfortable in absolutely every single place without having any consideration for those around us. You would be shocked to hear what I witnessed at my doctor's clinic. There were two benches in front of one another and there was a woman sitting on one side and she had her legs propped up on the other side as though she was in her own home. And this wasn't a park, it was a doctor's clinic. There are only two main takeaways from this video. As long as we don't change our ways, our image won't change in front of anyone. We would continue to be
I
looked
like how he has this backdrop, but this backdrop isn't real. You can tell by the outline cut of whatever software he's using to cut himself out that this is actually not his background, or at least this is, maybe this is where he lives, but it's a photo. Like it's not the actual source.
down upon. And number two, if you have a platform that showcases the culture of India and the beauty of it, I request you to showcase all the great parts of it, not parts that would only worsen our image. And finally, it would do us all good to be a little more accepting, a little less discriminatory, and of course, not glorify our failures as a country. And now I'm sure most people would ask me to leave this country after watching this video. But let me tell you one thing, that is not going to happen because I love this country. And I made this video solely for that reason. This country has given me every single thing that I have today. And going forward, my ambitions are centered around building something meaningful here for my people. Now the real question is, do you also do your part? Subscribe to the channel, I'll see you in the next one.
Well, I feel like he just talked about the issues, but he didn't really, I don't know, give any solutions. He really just, I guess he just wanted to bring out what the world perceived about India to his subscriber base in India. But I don't know if that, I don't know. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know how to feel about this video. I really don't. Because it just seemed like he was pointing out all the negativities. I mean, occasionally he'd point out a positive thing, right? Like with how beautiful the places are and like some of the positive like food videos and stuff. But I don't know, it just didn't feel like he gave any solution to, I don't know, like fix things, to change things, right? Interesting. Interesting. I think these comments are going to be very interesting as well. So we're going to read some comments today. We are going to read some comments, right? Right. Anyways, the disgusting things we do as an Indian and prideful says that India is not for beginners is the most stupidest thing I've ever heard. Weird. If I had money, I would leave the country and never look back. Weird. You should love your country, unless they're like, doing abhorrent, like, genocidal things or something. The problem with India is its people, its population, and the mentality of being backward, not punctual, not serious, no vision. Basically, we want good leaders, good politicians, but we never try to be good citizens because after the politician was once a common citizen like us, so we will reflect how we work. I'm an Indian doctor who lived in the UK for 2 years. I absolutely loved it. However, I understand that I could keep enjoying my life in England or make small differences in a small village in India, treating those lovely villagers who have nothing. So that's what I did. I lost out on my profession, comfort, and good life. Most people say I'm stupid, so I play guitar to de-stress. Make your difference, however small it, if you feel that's your calling. If not, wherever you are, you matter. God bless. Taking pride in mediocrity and classlessness, that's India for beginners, such a shame. He actually responded to this. I want to see what he said. True. Living in India, I don't know what that is. Surviving in India, check mark. Oh, that's like, okay. Look at our rivers, dirty. Look at our streets, full of potholes. Look at our jopperies, ugly. Look at our population, no space for private. Look at our sky, full of smoke. People are spitting anywhere. Wow, how great a country is. I feel like there's a lot of like self-hatred in the comments here so far. I'm from Sri Lanka, and last month I came to India on a 3-month trip. I first arrived in Tamil Nadu and stayed there for 3 weeks. After that, I traveled north visiting Kerala, Karnataka, Maharashtra, Gujarat by bike. I had to say Tamil Nadu is the best. The people there are very honest and helpful, and I believe it is one of the most developed states in India. It is also quite similar to Sri Lanka in many ways. Kerala and Karnataka are beautiful, but I found northern cities to be very polluted, and the people were not as friendly. One incident I experienced was when I was filming with my GoPro while riding my bike. A man tried to hit my camera and steal it. Interesting. I'm glad you had a good time, and I'm sorry for the experience while on the bike. Cheers. Don't forget the sexual assault and gang assaults. Before India was famous for doctors and engineers, now it's famous for scammers. Common sense is uncommon in India. As a black American that has visited India, I must say I have never seen people that will just sit there and stare at you without any shame, no disrespect, but India had the most bad-mannered people I've ever experienced. I mean, I feel like I'd get stares as well if I were to go to India as well. Not saying, I don't know. I don't know. You get this in a lot of countries though. If a foreigner goes, you're gonna get that in like China. You're gonna get that experience in many places. North Indians call South Indians that and that. You didn't add that. I don't know what those are. If we don't glorify our dark side, then we'll not be able to improve India's image. Hygiene is illegal in my country. Hmm. India is not for beginners. I hate that comment to the core. It's everything that's wrong with us. Most of us lack civic sense and common courtesy. I would wager that this is true for 80% of the people. As a foreigner who has visited and lived in India countless times and has a lot of Indian friends, here's what I think. Lack of manners and personal space, delusional nationalism, scam call centers. I'm not going to read all that. That's too much, brother. But I read your points, though. Seriously, that's why we don't want to live in the third world country. The country is stuck under the dirtiest politics of politicians. India is not for beginner meme is the biggest joke for yourself. Divide by races, united by racism. Finally, an Indian who isn't a narcissist, and they still say why rich Indians leaving India, dumping shit and piss and other waste into the Ganga, then bathing and washing clothes in it doesn't help. Sometimes I feel bad for being Indian. Like here, people are not percent willing to change. The problem is the mindset that glorifies cringe behavior as our desi way of life is the greatest way of life. Cringe behavior is bad no matter where you are. Being Northeast Indian, I have experienced racism, the most Indian compared to other countries. I read somewhere that the biggest achievement in India is to leave India, and I'm glad that I did. Wow. Wow. You forgot the Bobs and Vajane era? No idea. When Gaza was getting bombed and the children were getting killed, Indians and Twitter were laughing and praising Israel for this action. That's where everyone started trolling India hard, and they didn't have to look hard for meme material either. Okay, then. Where civic sense ends, India begins. Treat women better in India. I did my part. I don't spit, litter, or stare at foreigners blankly. Sure, I'm curious about them, but I don't want to make them uncomfortable. And all this, I made sure my family members also follow that they don't throw garbage outside anymore and have better civic sense than all other people. A lot of Indian people don't give a F about cleanliness. This person's saying they're leaving India soon. Indian society is backwards. Simple answer, they get triggered at everything. I don't know, man. I feel like this comment section isn't the greatest. I feel like a lot of these points in this comment section are kind of bad. I'm very scared to see what's in the new section because the new is even more unfiltered. All right. First comment is a slur. Gotta love it. Gotta love it. Wow. Check your facts, buddy. Please update your video.
India, I haven't seen
22 times. Oh, the cost. Best place to engage with Indian bros is in /poll. Oh, 4chan. Okay. Comment section is proving why Indian can't change. Instead of acceptance and improve, we choose to blame. Westerners mock our country, our tradition, and mock our accent. My blood boils, man. I'm a Western. I like Indians. I think Indians are the hardest working people. Appreciate it, fam. What really vexes me is the most of y'all generalize us. For example, okay, well, isn't that a generalization upon a generalization? This person says Westerners mock our country or tradition, makes the blood boil, right? This Westerner says they like Indians. They think the Indians are the hardest working people. And then this person says, what really vexes me is y'all generalize us. Generalize. You're generalizing Westerners. See, there's that, you can't go and generalize somebody and then get angry that they would generalize you back, right? So I lead by example, I guess. I don't know. I'm not gonna read all that. I'm just saying, like, you get mad at people for generalizing you, but then you generalize them back. It's a little bit of what's the word I'm looking for? Double something. I don't know. I don't know. Trust me, I heard a lot of good things about India, but I'll never visit India for free because all my friends and relatives who had visited India recommend me not to go. I'm not reading all that. Um, Indonesia overcharges foreigners as well by a huge factor. Yeah, I was gonna say there's plenty of other places that do that, and not just like Southeast Asia places. Like Rome, for example, I believe there's a lot of businesses that would overcharge. Egypt, for example, if you're going to the pyramids, there's a lot of businesses that overcharge foreigners when they see them. Family Guy went really easy on India the past episode before ESG would have really torn India a new one. ESG, what ESG stands for, equity something. No, that's not ESG. Equity some, I don't know. DEI stuff. That's what it is, right? How Indians can be racist. They don't want food to live in or shelter. They don't have food to live in or shelter. I'm not gonna read all that. Images on the India images on the internet is really bad. They're filthy, racist, and okay. Nothing personal. I just tell what I found on the internet. This person's a racist because he doesn't actually look into things. Indians are always the first to shout they are abused. Y'all cry the most. Lol. Modi G is making India shine and recognized by the world. We proudly say India is not for beginners. Clown face. If I had the money, I would just leave the country forever. The reason for hate against India is not because of Indians' problems, but because India has hurt the superiority complex of Western countries. If we don't accept our weakness, we can't be the best. Hindus literally shit on the internet all day long. Like, I don't know what that is. Reason why anti-India sentiment has increased. Bruh, India is a third world country. One of the main reasons are that we are ugly. Whoa. That's radical too. What the hell? Okay. Because they don't support Israel enough? Is that why they're getting hate? Is because they don't support Israel? I thought most Indians were like pro-Israel, but that's not a topic I really want to get into. You missed 500 million people. Oh, okay. In India, people live to fix other people's instead of themselves. The butt crack of the world, Bihar of the world. Like I said, I feel like this comment section is just full of wow, not so good stuff. India equals Brazil equals Nigeria, all the same mentality. What are you talking about? Brazil is probably has some of like the beautiful places in the world. Nigeria, I've seen some really really nice Nigeria roads as well. BS video recycling content from other YouTubers and adding your own biased opinions. Nothing here is opinion, lol. Everything the other YouTuber and this guy said about India are pure facts. We should be grateful to him for sharing awareness. If this video knocks some sense into some viewers of this video, we lead to one fraction more towards development. I guess yeah, that's what the video is, just like to bring awareness, not to necessarily bring solutions. Lots of very uncivil comments here. He's justifying being racist. They will call you anti-national. Indians hate us, Bangladeshi, the most. I'm from Northeast India, and now I'm accepting I am Chinese. Stoneface. No, you aren't. Your ancestors came from Tibet Plateau thousands of years ago, but you aren't a Tibetan anymore. You were just, well, actually, his ancestors came from, they came more from, what, like the Vietnam, the Laos area, right? Actually, where the Ahom kingdom originated from, or the leader of the Ahom kingdom, his group of people originated from there, and they went and they intermingled. So you know what, I don't know enough to say. Main reason, population. Egypt, Morocco, Iran, many other countries do the same principle of ticket prices. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like there's many countries that do that, the inflated ticket prices for foreigners. France too, yeah. Because there's Indians in India. Why do you think no one wants your filthy sub? Oh my God. I should have read that whole thing before I started talking, man. All right. This comment section's vile. This comment section's absolutely vile. What else does this guy do? I want to see. What? Kids equal money machine? Indians everywhere. Why are so many global CEOs Indians? How Bangalore is becoming the worst city to live? The Colts. Dear Indian, please don't be like him. Tipping scam. Hold on. What's his most popular? This is literally his most popular video. Biggest trap. Oh. Why Indians are buying iPhones. I was going to watch this video. It's in my to watch list. Oh, that's the same guy. Interesting. Very interesting. Okay. Huh. Okay. Well, the link to the video we just watched is in the description down below. I'm really interested in seeing what the comments have to say about this one. I mean, I recognize that there are issues in India. Like it's from what I've seen online, it's obvious, right? But that being said, there are issues everywhere. Everywhere faces their own set of issues. So to single out and say that India is the worst because of X reason, I just think that's, I don't know, a little backwards thinking, right? We're all human. We're all human. We all just need to come together and like coexist. And I'm not talking about like that in like a commie hippie type of way. I'm talking like we need to come together as a world and start exploring space already. Gosh dang it. I can't believe I was born before the great exodus into space colonization, man. Crazy. Little tangent there at the end. This guy, I don't know. I'd have to see more of his stuff before I base my judgment on him. On second thought, I think he was simply just bringing awareness. I'll check out some more of his other videos too. So we'll see what's up. Anyways, the link to this video will be in the description down below. So go there, check it out, and yeah, take care. Goodbye.